Have you ever felt like you knew you were right, but no one would listen? Imagine that feeling, but someone's life is on the line. That's a Tuesday for many in the medical field. Today, I want to share an incredible story that perfectly captures this struggler story of being underestimated. Sticking to your gut and achieving a victory that changes everything in an instant. This isn't just a story from a medical journal. It's a real-life drama that unfolded in the high-stakes environment of an emergency room. It began with a patient, let's call him Mark, who was brought in with severe, debilitating stomach pain. He was pale, sweating, and clearly in a bad way. The initial assessment by the senior attending physician was straightforward, a classic case of severe gastritis. The plan was simple: pain management, for fluids, and observation. Case closed, right? Not for a young resident doctor. We'll call her Dr. Evans. She was on her rotation, relatively new, but sharp. She noticed something everyone else had missed. Mark's pain, while centered in his stomach, had a very specific, radiating pattern. His vital signs, though stable, had a subtle trend that just felt off. It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but it was there. She had a hunch, a gut feeling that this was something far more serious than just an upset stomach. She suspected a rare but deadly condition, an aortic dissection, where the main artery from the heart tears. If she was right, Mark was a ticking time bomb. If it ruptured, he'd be gone in minutes. So she did what any dedicated doctor would do. She approached the attending physician. "Sir," she said, "I think we need to consider an aortic dissection. Can we get an urgent CT scan?" The response was dismissive. Dr. Evans looked at the patient. He's young, no history of hypertension. It's gastritis. Let's not waste resources on a wild goose chase. He patted her on the shoulder and walked away, underestimated, brushed aside. She could have just dropped it. She could have just followed orders and documented her concerns. It would have been the easy thing to do. But she couldn't. She looked at Mark, writhing in pain, and she saw more than a textbook case. She saw a person whose life depended on her speaking up. So she did it again. She found the attending physician and insisted more firmly this time. She laid out her reasoning, the subtle signs, the radiating pain, the gut feeling she couldn't shake. "With all due respect, sir," she said, "the risk of being wrong is a patient's life. The cost of being right is just a CT scan." This time, her persistence, her conviction, cut through. The attending, annoyed but perhaps intrigued by her tenacity, finally relented. "Fine," he sighed, "get your scan. But when it comes back clear, we're having a talk about over-testing." Dr. Evans rushed Mark to the CT scanner. The minutes felt like hours. The entire team waited. Then the images loaded onto the screen. A collective gasp filled the room. There it was, clear as day. A massive tear in the aorta. Dr. Evans was right. The attending physician's face went pale. He looked at her not with annoyance, but with a newfound respect and maybe a little bit of shock. What happened next was a whirlwind. The triumph wasn't just in being right, it was in the immediate life-saving action that followed. The code for a vascular surgery emergency was called within minutes. The surgical team was assembled, Mark was prepped, and he was wheeled into the operating room. There was no time to celebrate, only to act. The surgery was long and complex, but it was successful. Hours later, Dr. Evans went to check on Mark in the ICU. He was awake, weak, but alive. He looked at her, and with all the strength he could muster, he whispered, "You saved my life." In that one moment, all the doubt, all the dismissal she faced, it all melted away. That was the victory. Not proving someone wrong, but giving someone a future. This story is a powerful reminder that in medicine and in life, we have to trust our instincts. We have to be advocates, even when we're underestimated. It shows that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about acting in spite of fear for the good of others. It's for the quiet victories that don't make headlines but change the world for one person and for their family forever. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more. See you next time.